Aloha, kindergartners, and welcome parents. Let's talk about the Kindergarten Book Project. This is very exciting where you get to be your own author. And you've written a book before. You wrote about the umbrella, the magic umbrella story that you did. This one, we are going to take all the steps that an author takes to create a finished book. So it's going to be a 6-week project, and each week we're going to do a different step of the writing process. A great place to start is always your favorite book. It helps show you all the elements that you need to have a great story. Here's one of my absolute favorite books from when I was a student, and I know I say that about multiple books, but this really was my favorite. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. The author is Judy Barrett, and the illustrator is Ron Barrett. And this story just made me so happy when I was a student. There was imagination. It was this whole other world that I had never thought of before, and this book just made me happy every time I read it. And now I love to read it to my own children. So you can take out one of your favorite books, and I know you have a big list like I do, and look at the pictures, listen to the story, look at the characters, what kind of problem is there, what are the events that happened, what happened at the end, how did it make you feel? And those are some of the story elements. It's the 5-finger retell we do at the end of every book we read. We want to make sure we have those elements in the story that we write ourselves. So what are we going to do first? So the first step, or the first week, is pre-writing. Pre means before, writing. So what are we doing? We're just coming up with topics. This is just ideas. So before you sit down and just say, I'm writing about this, well, let's think of some ideas. So for example, what are some of your hobbies? Who are your friends? Family? Holidays you celebrate? Special places you like to go? What are some of your favorite activities? How about pets you have now or you've had before or you want to have one day? Some happy times, some sad times, and just your choice. If you have ideas that don't fit any of these categories, you could write them here. And this page, kindergartners, I'm fine with you orally saying these out loud and parents writing these down, because this is just our pre-writing. When I was in school, we called it brainstorming, just thinking of possible ideas that you could write your book about. Now, here's the hard part. You have to pick one idea. I know, you could write 25 books. I know you could. But pick one idea, and then you're going to take out your kindergarten story map that's blank, but it looks like this. You have in the middle a circle, and this is the main idea. So go ahead and draw a picture of your main idea, and I would like for you to do as much of the writing or sounding out as you can, and ask adults to help you if you need to. And then this is, so what is your book about? If I just said, what are you writing about? You wouldn't tell me every single piece, you just give me the main idea. And we do that with our 5-finger retell as well. So tell me the main idea of your story here. And then think about your story. So what's going to happen at the beginning? Draw a picture, label as best you can, an adult can help you with words. What's going to happen in the middle? Draw the picture, label the best you can, an adult can help. And then the last one, what's going to happen at the end? This is going to help organize your ideas from beginning to middle to end. Now there's one other thing that you could do if you choose to. And again, all writers use different types of organization. So this is an idea. It's also in your language arts book if you would like to use it. It's called a story structure map. It helps you organize your ideas even more. So the main idea of Anne's story is that Marla ran away. That's her main idea. So setting, what's the setting? Right, where the story takes place. So you didn't really think about that already, probably in the beginning, middle, or end. You may have, but this gives you a chance to really think, okay, well, it's going to take place here. And she has 2 settings, in her backyard and her front yard. And then the characters. You might have the main idea in the beginning, middle, and end, but do you know all the people that you would like in your book? And they don't have to be people. They could be animals, robots, dinosaurs. This is your story. You are the author. Then there should always be a problem. Every good book that you read has some type of problem. This problem needs to be solved. So in this story, the problem is that Marlowe ran away. Then there's the climax. That means it gets exciting. Like when you're reading a book and the big thing happens and you're so excited. Or when you're watching a movie and it's building and building and building and then the big thing happens. That's what a climax is. So in this one, the climax is going to be that I heard Marlowe in the front yard. So she heard her dog and that's when she got so excited. So is there going to be an exciting part of your story? And then fix it. We have the Band-Aid. You have to think of how to solve the problem. And then at the end, which you've already thought about from your story map, how did you end the book? So again, this story structure is optional. I know I have a lot of really high readers and writers. For those of you with a little more detailed stories, you might want to use this to help plan a little more, but it's optional. Then week 2, or the second part of the writing process we're going to do, is drafting. This just means just start writing. Don't worry about exactly how to spell everything perfect. Just start sounding it out. Working through your beginning, middle, and end. Working through your setting and characters that you come up with and creating the story. So look at this. It's just in pencil, just their very best. The person wrote their very best, how they sounded it out. They missed some punctuation and spelling, but in drafting, you don't worry about that. You just do the writing part. That's what you do for week 2. Then week 3, this is the rough draft, and the green marks are revisions. So you want to look through and say, how can I make this story better? For example, in this sentence they wrote, I heard something, and that was it. And then when they went to week 3, they thought, how can I make this more exciting? What words could I use? Then they wrote, I heard a howling sound coming. So all the green things you see, this is what we mean by revising. Here's another one. I was sad. So when they came back the next week, they said, how can I make this sentence even better? Then they changed it to, I was scared to lose my dog. They gave us more information and used a stronger verb, scared. So the green on this example story shows the revising. Then in red we have editing, and that is week 4. And you have a checklist to go through to help you to figure out the editing pieces. And this is definitely where an adult needs to help too. Because sometimes, and even as an adult writer, it's hard for us to see our own mistakes in our writing because we wrote it. But the good thing about doing it week by week is when you come back to your story fresh, you always have more ideas and you can see your mistakes easier. So the red marks are the editing pieces. So they looked through and said, okay, now we're looking for how to make it correctly spelled, correct punctuation. So we all know in kindergarten, I has to be capitalized. So then they did the capital I. Have, they realized, oops, spelled this wrong, we're missing the E. Named, sounded that out, but an adult probably helped with there's actually an E before the D. So week 4 is all about the editing, and you're going to go through your checklist to help you remember with spellings and punctuations and capitalizations, and parents will help with this editing part as well. Here's the editing checklist. You want to be able to mark all of these off. So after you've edited, and while you're editing, you can go through one at a time. All my sentences begin with capital letters. We'll go through each sentence one at a time to check. If they're correct, mark it off. If you need to fix them, fix them. So if you follow this step by step, you will be ready and your story will have been edited well. Number 5, the final draft. Did you know that writers don't just write one time and then they're done? They do all the steps we're doing, and then comes the fun part, the final draft. So you're going to look at the paper with all your green marks and your red marks and all the things that you've changed and make the final copy. So this has all the correct capitalizations, punctuations, and spelling. And so this is the final copy that we call it, or the final draft of our story. That is in week 5. Lastly, we have week 6. This is where it just gets fun. You are going to publish your story. Not in the sense that published books are in the stores or in the libraries, but you're going to publish in a creative way. This student just did it on construction paper. They typed out their title. They put a fun picture of their dog, typed out their name for the author. You always want to make sure your name, the author's on the front cover. And this was a fun way for them to share their book. So you can do your pictures, photos, anything you like to publish and make it fun. It's your story. So that is your kindergarten book project. I cannot wait to hear your stories. It is critical to do one step each week. If you try to just sit down and do the book in 1 week, it's not following the process, and it won't be as good of a story as it could be if you take it step by step, 1 week at a time. When I receive these stories in the mail, I'll scan them, put them into PowerPoints, which you just saw a quick piece of a student that was in a PowerPoint, and then on our reading circles, we will get to read our stories that we wrote to our reading circle friends. I can't wait, and I know you're going to do a terrific job. Please email me with any questions or ask me for during our weekly lessons, and I look forward to hearing from my kindergarten authors.